To everybody. My name is Koert Breebaart, and that's a lot of E's and A's in two words. Unpronounceable for most of you, but not where I come from. I lived in windmills for most of my life and had tulips for breakfast. At least that is what people think when I say that I'm from the Netherlands. I have 30 minutes with you to talk about a very special group of people. The people that pay your salaries. And it's not your boss. It's actually your customers. Their revenues that they buy your products makes your company able to pay your pay slips. And I wrote a book about it last year in 2012. I published this book, The 5 Steps to Customer Centricity, and some of the frameworks that I'll be using today will come from this book, some of the concepts. I also brought a truck with me from Singapore, and how that all fits together you see in the next 30 minutes. All companies sell something, products or services. So you're not unique. You all work for companies that do that. Some companies, beyond they sell a product or a service, they deliver an experience. Some companies are very good at it, and some companies are less good at it. Companies that are very good at it is, for example, the company that created this phone. This is small as an iPhone. That's Apple. The experience is not this piece of metal and some glass and some plastic and chips and some electronics inside. No. There's a value add to this phone. A value add that gives you security. And Apple did a great job on making this phone integrated into your life. And the experience with this phone doesn't start only when you light it up. This experience starts when you went into their store. You buy the product in a fantastic setting, and then you come home and you unbox your product. It's all very sleek. It's all very simple. And that's the promise that Apple gives to their customers. And later in this presentation, I'll tell you a bit more about Apple and how they have integrated customer experience into their whole product portfolio. Other companies that are very good in delivering customer experience are, for example, hotel chains like the Ritz-Carlton. When you walk into a Ritz-Carlton hotel, you know, you feel differently, you feel respected. Or a Walt Disney theme parks. Everyone you talk to in a Walt Disney theme park will give you the feeling that you are a very special person. So the customer experience really brought from people to people. Now, give me a show of hands. Who's working for a company that is truly customer-centric? Okay. I see one hand with a one hesitant hand. I'm not surprised. I also see some giggles. So it's not easy for a company to be truly customer-centric, because most of us, the moment companies are growing, they start to lose contact with their customers, and they are working in silos and they have difficulties on continuously understanding what their customer needs are. Now, that I don't see too many hands means that you are in the right room, because today I'm going to talk about what you can do as a company to become more customer-centered. Let's stand still for a moment and see what's happening in the world and what is going to happen. And that has impact on the way your customers behave currently. In 1850, that is about 150 years ago, the world has reached a 1 billion size population. Only 150 years later, this population has grown to 7 billion. I think last year we passed the 7 billion threshold. Guess how many years it took for the last billion to be added from 6 billion to 7 billion? Only 12 years. That's how fast this world is growing. And all those people, all your customers, they need to communicate. And there's at this moment in time, they're sending about 400 billion emails per day. And because they've realized that communication just by talking is not efficient enough. We need to use technology to communicate with each other. 3 billion Google searches every day. That means that half of this population on the planet is doing one search every other day, including grandmas, including children, including the poorest people of the world, including those who are illiterate. And we're sharing 1 billion posts on Facebook every day about what I like to eat, where I am, how my cat looks, how your cat looks like, and all very interesting and contributing stuff. To do this, we need devices. And right now, we're living in a world where there are more mobile devices than toothbrushes. That is the reality that we need to deal with. And it's not stopping here. It's only getting bigger and bigger. By 2030, the middle class will have grown, or is expected to grow by 2.5 times. And it's the middle class, the people that earn money, that will drive the adoption of technology even much further than we currently see. So what does this mean? It means that your customers will behave differently. Your customers, those 7 billion customers and later 8 billion and 9 billion customers, they will not be following your rules anymore. Following your rules is so 2000. That's where we thought about sales process and marketing process, and if customers want to buy our products, they just follow all these steps. Not anymore. Customers will change the rules. Customers will be 3 things. They will be digitally connected, socially networked, and extremely well informed. Let me dive into that a little bit deeper. Our research shows that 79% of the customers in a sales cycle is spending more than 50% of their time researching online. Last year, I buy a digital camera. I went into the Koert store on Orchard Road in Singapore. I spent no more than 10 minutes in the store and I choose a Canon camera. Can I decide that fast? No. I spent my whole Sunday looking in Google, looking on Amazon, researching all the different kind of models and comparing them, finding the right store to go to, because I don't want to waste my time in stores. I think I'm smarter than most of the salespeople that man those stores, so I want to outsmart them and get the best deal for me. 53% of the customers, if they are willing to transact and they research online and they find one comment that is negative, either about the brand or that particular product that they're after, they would abandon the sales cycle. Wow. That is not easy to manage for companies where you work for. How to control the media. Now, let me tell you a little bit about background on negative comments. A negative comment doesn't come from a customer or doesn't come from as a result of your company making a mistake. All companies make mistakes. It's about how you deal with it. That is called, in customer experience terminology, service recovery. Example. In the last 2 months, Apple was in quite a bit in the news. A few people died because they were charging their Apple iPhones with non-Apple chargers in China. And you may have read it. Unbelievable, but it happened. That's a catastrophic event for a company like Apple. Most companies would say, okay, but it's not our charger, and in the T's and C's somewhere down in your box, it will probably say somewhere that you have to use the official Apple charger. Otherwise, how can we be liable? That is how most companies react. So they don't do service recovery. They just hope time will solve all, and nobody will die. Now, not Apple. Apple says, okay, this must be an opportunity for us. So what they did, they launched something incredible. And this was launched just a month ago. They say everybody in the world that owns a fake Apple charger can go to our stores and get the charger replaced by an official Apple One at 50% discount. Think about that. Now, what I know, and you also know within in the next 20 seconds, is that every person that walks into an Apple store is spending on average $43 on Apple products. So by creating this exchange program, they make sure that they get a lot of traffic into their retail stores, which is good for business. What they also do, and what is more important, they give a message out to the world and to their customers. You are so important to us that we will take whatever you bought anytime, and we will exchange it to our products of which we believe are or will not harm you. And the comments online were raving about this initiative, this Apple initiative. Third one here, better informed. Customers, before they come in contact, even in contact with your brand or your retail store, they've already formed an opinion online. They have done their research. And 59% of the customers is really willing to change service provider if the other provider or your competitor will deliver a better service. And that is a nice bridge into the following slide. Customer experience is the new battleground. It used to be price and product. Right now, it's about experience. If you think about this, if you are delivering a good experience, the premium you can charge to your customers is much higher. How much does a cup of coffee on the Eiffel Tower in Paris cost you? Guess. Sorry? €2? €20? A bit on the high side. But I guess somewhere between 10 to 15 euros. So that's what, like 40 to 50 ringgit. At a cost of what? At less than a ringgit, right? So, and they're not paying for the coffee. I mean, the coffee is just the commodity under it. They're paying for the service. They're paying for the experience that they get of having that coffee with your family in a very special place. So companies are starting to realize it. And when IBM, they did a research and they interviewed CEOs of global companies around the globe in different industries. And the CEOs, the executives, tell us that, or what we learned from the research, that 80% of those companies have customer experience as a top strategic topic on their agenda. Why? Because none of you are working, or except for you, sir, most of you are not working for a company that is customer-centric. What they realize is not what the rest of the world is realizing yet, but I'm going to open your eyes, hopefully. Why do CEOs think it's so important to look after your customer experience? I'll give you the proof. And the proof was given by Forrester. Forrester, they looked at the S&P 500. That is what? The 500 largest companies in the US. And they looked at their stock price behavior over a 5-year period. And overall, their stock price didn't move so much. It was quite flat. Then they got another research inside, and they did another research to find out what, out of those 500 companies, who are the companies that are delivering the best customer experience, and they call them the customer experience leaders. And then on the other hand, you have the customer experience laggards, where customers claim that the experience that was delivered was under average. When they dissect that same data, they saw that the customer experience leaders, the stock price performance went up 22% over a 5-year period. When they looked at the laggards, their stock price performance went down by 46%. That is the difference on the long term between delivering an excellent customer experience versus being average. I come to my truck now. I want to talk about a company in Mexico. A company called Cemex. Cemex is in the business of manufacturing cement. And cement is cement is cement. It's the king of commodities. There is no flavor in cement, there is no color in cement, there is no odor in cement. It's all the same. So if you are the CEO of this cement company, what are you going to do? You have two choices in commodity business. Either you deliver it at the lowest price, so you start a price war with your competitors, or you're going the other way, and you're going to deliver a much better service than your competitors. This CEO chose the latter. He didn't want to go into the price war. So he started a research to say, what do my customers really want? And he found out that their customers, beyond the quality of the cement, they wanted on-time delivery. That was their number one requirement. Why is that? Because if cement is delivered too fast as a construction site, the quality of the cement will go down very quickly over time, until a point that the cement is unusable for the operation, because they don't want to compromise the stiffness of the bridge or the building. So cement that is delivered too late has an operational impact. Maybe there are thousands of workers that need to wait and they're idle for half an hour or an hour before the cement comes in. That comes at a very high cost for the customer. So this CEO said, okay, the first thing he asked his the people that work for him, what is our performance in on-time delivery? They had no clue. Everything was manual. And actually, the cement delivery was done by a third-party logistics. So he said, okay, I want to take control, just like what Apple did with their phones. So he started to take all those trucks, and I know this is not exactly the same, but just imagine this is the same, this is a cement truck. Okay? And they put GPS sensors in all their trucks. And to know exactly where the trucks with the goods were at any moment in time, they use an SAP system to collect all the data, combine that data with traffic reports, and do predictive analysis to see which trucks will be in time and which trucks wouldn't be in time. 4 hours before the delivery. That gives Cemex a great competitive advantage, because now they can go to their customers and advise them on either the collections or deliveries to be late or too fast, and talk with him about alternatives. And internally, they were able to swap. They would be able to swap deliveries. Cemex started 10 years ago. They were one plant. They had one plant in Mexico. Right now, they're the third largest cement manufacturing company in the world. So they made a huge success out of this customer experience journey that they took. Companies like Cemex, Apple, Walt Disney, Ritz-Carlton, they all went through a certain transformation to become the companies they are right now. And that's what I'm going to talk about next, is what are those 5 steps that I describe in my book, 5 Steps to Customer Centricity, to reach to that state. First of all, you need to realize this is all, going through this transformation is about giving your company a competitive edge. You can differentiate yourself from your competitors. But what it means is you create a customer-centric DNA inside your company. The 5 steps that companies normally take is it starts with a vision, followed by target setting. A vision that will tell all your employees and your customers what kind of experiences you want to deliver in the future. And second, you translate that into targets that can be distributed so that everybody knows exactly at the end of the transformation how successful the transformation was. Measurements. You bring in measurements into the organization and show the people that are accountable for to deliver a certain change to see where they are at any moment in time against that target. And number 4 is governance. And governance is where you can bring people together to talk about the insights that your customers have given you at any moment in time, and to make the changes to agree on plans that will improve the customer experience. And number 5 is a foundational capability, change management. Once you embark on a journey like this, there will be a lot of change for people. They will be doing things differently than they were before. So you need to take them by the hand and guide them, train them, empower them, enable them to deliver on those changes. One interesting thing that I want to share on this is it starts with a vision. And the vision is not very straightforward. There are many good examples and bad examples that I can share. A very good example is Ritz-Carlton. The slogan that Ritz-Carlton uses that describes the customer experience that they want to deliver is called "Ladies and Gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen." Think about that. What they're doing, very obviously with this kind of statement, they are telling their customers that they are ladies and gentlemen, and they have staff that will treat them very well. The message that they give to their employees is saying, your customers are ladies and gentlemen, or your guests in the hotel are ladies and gentlemen, so you also be one if you want to serve them right. So it cuts at two ways. An example where it didn't really work is an example of a telecommunications company in the Netherlands called Ziggo. You probably never heard of it. But Ziggo was a new competitor in the Dutch. They were offering broadband and television and stuff. And they said their logo or their slogan was, "We listen." So probably they figured out that all the other telcos, they were too big, they were never really listening, so they listened. What happened? It was a commercial success. And with commercial success always comes constraints on your operation. So many people were calling in that the call center couldn't handle it, and people were really waiting half an hour to 1 hour to get to talk to the customer care. Guess what happens? After a week, all the headlines in the Dutch newspapers were saying, "Ziggo, you listening? Are you kidding? You're not listening at all." So you have to be sensitive about this, and so of course they needed to change their slogan very quickly, otherwise they would become the laughing stock of the Dutch community. One mistake many companies make is that they're confusing customer experience with CRM. Those are two very different things. They are linked, but they are different. Customer experience is something, or is a service that is delivered from one person to another person. CRM is a system that enables that transaction to be relevant and value add. And Koert says that customer experience is delivered 70% by people, 20% by processes, and 10% by systems. Maybe that will change in the future. I can see that changing with mobility and way more presence on the internet, that the experience that will come through IT may grow. But right now, the impact is still limited. However, you cannot deliver a good experience without a good CRM or without good technology. Why? Because you need to empower your people, your employees, to be productive. You are always competing for the best talent. You want to have knowledgeable people in your stores that can sell your products, knowledgeable account managers, knowledgeable people on the phone. But how to train them, how to give them the knowledge. That's where, if you don't have good systems, you're spending a lot of time and money on training all the people. And every time you train something, you're going to spend 50% more of their salary than otherwise. So not having a good infrastructure will not make your people very productive. And think about the Cemex case, where they were able to make the frontline people 40% more productive with the systems that they had. That's how technology plays a very important role in delivering a good customer experience. One more example. I have time for one more example. Let's take a company like Rolls-Royce. You know Rolls-Royce from big cars, right? They make these luxury cars, but they're also in the business of making airplane engines. Those are very complex machineries, and they sell them to Airbus and Boeing. But when you buy, let's say a few years ago, when you buy an airplane engine, it comes with the requirement of one engineer, one dedicated engineer, to maintain those engines for one plane. And if you have then 500 planes in your fleet, you need to hire a lot of engineers, because you don't want your planes to fall out of the air at any cost. Now, GE, General Electric, is another big provider of airplane engines, and they were able to put an engine in the market that had lower maintenance requirements. And they started to snoop away all the market share that Rolls-Royce had. So Rolls-Royce really needed to do something. What they did is they, together with SAP, they partnered, they co-innovate with SAP, and they built in all kind of sensors in their engines, heat sensors, torque sensors, humidity sensors, and all that data is they can collect in a plane and get into an SAP maintenance system. And that SAP maintenance system would tell the engineer where they need to maintain. So they used to take out the whole, all those thousands of components, check it manually and put it back. Right now, the system would tell, in this particular part of your engine, you may have a problem, and you need to change one or two spare parts. What it did, the engineers, instead of one engineer maintaining one plane, now one engineer can maintain 300 planes. That is giving a customer edge to Rolls-Royce, and they started to get back into to get market share back with this kind of solutions. So think about technology of an enabler for future growth, but also think about technology as an enabler to deliver better service to your customer. Because guess what? These engineers can not only serve more planes, but they also free up a lot of time that was wasted before, that was now taken out by an intelligent system, and they can start to have conversations with the customer and advise them on many other things. So there are more value-added work that these employees can do. There are three things that I want you to take away. I've come to the end of my time slot. Number one would be, if customer experience is not on your agenda, on your strategic agenda, please think again. Number two, customer experience is delivered from person to person. Technology will help So technology will not really help directly the customer experience, but it has an indirect influence on the effectiveness of people. That's how you should deploy technology at this moment in time. And number 3, think big. Really think as a company, really think at the kind of customer experience that you want to deliver to your customers, and think about the kind of steps that you can take. Start small. You can buy my book. It's available on Amazon. It's available in the Kindle store. It's available through the iPad store. Thank you very much. My name is Koert Breebaart, and I'm delighted to have any questions if we have maybe 1 or 2 minutes left. It's for sale. Oh, no, sorry, I only brought one home. This one was taking too much space in my luggage. Question. Okay, thank you. And I hand over to the next speaker.